Once upon a time in a far... Hey guys, it's Grace and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be telling you the story of my emergency surgery this summer and how everything quite unfolded. So without further ado, I'm just going to go on and dig in. This past July at about 5 o'clock in the morning, I woke up in excruciating pain, something that I'd never really felt before. I thought that I just had a horrible stomach ache. Maybe I ate something the night before. I remember going to bed with a headache, so I thought maybe I'd just come down with something. I went to the bathroom and nothing changed, and so I thought, okay, well, is it the shingles? Because I do have a history with shingles. I was sitting there logically thinking what all it could be. I did realize after about 20 minutes that I probably needed to go to the emergency room. I personally think that the emergency room is the last resort. After speaking with my grandma, I made the decision that I needed to drive myself to the emergency room. I was in pain, but I thought, it's not too far up the road. I live probably 10 minutes from one at the most. And so I got in the car, and of course, living in Columbia, I got stopped by a train. If you are familiar with Columbia, you know there are train tracks everywhere. So this was no surprise, but it was comical at this point because it's like, I'm hurting. Yeah, can you go? Can you go, please? So, of course, the train is taking its sweet time, and I'm just sitting there thinking, are you serious? Is this a joke? Is this a joke? So, after squeezing my steering wheel, just like a stress ball, it's just like driving, I finally get to the emergency room. So I get out of the car. Luckily, there weren't that many cars in the parking lot, so that made me feel good. Maybe they weren't too busy. I got in. There was no one in there, so I was very happy about that because I was not in the condition where I wanted to be waiting. And I remember walking up to the front desk, and the nice attendant lady was like, "Hi, how are you? Good morning. Can I help you?" And I said, "I need help." And I'm pretty sure that's all I said, I need help. And she asked me what was going on. I said, I have no clue, but I need a doctor right now. And she just looked at me like, what in the world is wrong with this person? And at this point, I was almost crying. It was hurting so bad. I have a very high pain tolerance. So for me to be in that much pain, it is a big deal. And at this point, I was just hysterical. I was like, I need help, now. After I received my hospital bracelet, I was ushered back through a door right beside the stand where they put me in a holding room where they take all your information and everything. And the nurse in there, I don't know his name, but he was the sweetest guy in the world. And if he sees this, thank you so much, sir, because I could not have made it through that morning without him. I was explaining to him what was going on, where I was hurting, and that I had never felt anything like this before. He could see the expressions on my face and how much pain I was in. And I didn't say much. Honestly, I just said stomach, and he saw my face, and he stopped me when I was talking, and he said, I know exactly what it is. And I just looked at him like, I'm sure you do. And he said, it's your gallbladder. I'm 99.9% sure it's your gallbladder. And I remember thinking, okay, that's great, but what does a gallbladder do? I know I have one, but what does it do? What does that mean if it's my gallbladder and all this stuff? And he said, well, I had my gallbladder removed, and I can just tell you that is the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. And I've had women tell me that they would much rather go through a natural childbirth than have issues with their gallbladder. And I just thought, well, this is fabulous. This is great. He said, if it is, you'll probably have to have surgery. And that's the first time the surgery word came up. And I said, excuse me, what? When I went to the emergency room, honestly, in my head, I thought they would give me some kind of medicine, obviously get me feeling better, but give me some kind of medicine and tell me which doctor to go see in about a week. I did not go to the emergency room expecting them to say, oh no, you're staying. Long story short, sure enough, the nurse was right, and it was my gallbladder. It took them probably 30 minutes to figure it out. It was fairly quick. All they did, because they pretty much felt like they knew what it was, is they did an ultrasound on my stomach and saw that my gallbladder was very inflamed. And so then they kept giving me morphine and to make me more comfortable, just because they could see I was in extreme pain. So at this point, I called my grandma back and my boyfriend, my sweet, sweet boyfriend, and told them, hey, I'm gonna need some help. They've put me on morphine. I can't drive. My car's at the emergency room. Someone, I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna need some help. Now they're saying I might have to have surgery. My gallbladder's messed up. I had no clue what was going on at this point. They were still running some more tests. At this point, it's probably about 7 a.m. and that's when they told me, okay, it's your gallbladder. You're gonna be here for a while. We've already given you morphine. You can't drive. So you might need someone to come help you with, getting home and everything like that if you would go home. And I was like, what? So I called my grandma back and I said, hey, I think I'm gonna need some help here. Do you mind coming down to Columbia? It was about an hour and 15-minute drive. She came down here so early in the morning and I'm so thankful, but she came and was with me. I also texted and called my boyfriend and told him what was going on. And it's kind of funny, he woke up and read the first message around 5 a.m. and he went back to sleep, of course, because he didn't think much about it. And then he, I guess, thought that he dreamed it and he read it again at about 6 and was like, what's going on? What's going on? So I get this call from him about this time and he's panicking, completely panicking. He's like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Like, yeah, I saw the message and I went back to sleep and I'm so sorry. I'm a horrible person. And just went on. And so he talked to his dad, I think, and his dad was like, yeah, that's not good. So he got in the car, drove up to Columbia. That's more like a 2-hour drive. So thank you so much, Thomas, for doing that. At this point, it was probably 8:30 before I had Thomas and my grandma there, and having them there was so great for me. I was still in the emergency room and I had no pillow, no nothing. All I had was morphine, but morphine, for the first few hours, that did the trick. I was in La La Land. While all this was going on, my mom was actually in Hawaii. I'm very close to my mom. I've never had a surgery where it wasn't planned and where my mom was there. So the idea of going under without her really scared me. So I text my mom that morning at about 5 when I woke up and told her that there was something going on, that I wasn't sure what exactly was going on. And then I texted her again once they told me the news. I said, hey mom, not trying to scare you, but I'm having surgery. Love you. Call me when you get up. And so they're on a completely different time zone than the East Coast, obviously. So it took her a while to wake up and realize what was going on and the severity. And at that point, it was probably midday here before she realized. And at that point, we knew exactly what was going on, so we were able to inform her more. But she called me panicking, absolutely panicking. She's like, I'm so sorry. And she was in a pretty rural part of Hawaii because she was there to hike and do that kind of stuff. So it wasn't like she was in Honolulu with great cell service. So I'm trying to tell her what's going on and she can hardly hear me. I can hardly hear her. It was not helping the situation. So she found out what was going on. And at that point, I was still in the emergency room in Columbia. I was asking them, okay, I've been here half a day now. When am I going to go upstairs and be admitted or something like that? When's the surgery going to take place? Because at that point, they had realized that I had to have surgery. It was happening. So I started asking questions and they said, well, we're full upstairs, so it's going to be a while. And I was like, okay, can I at least get a pillow? And if you don't know anything about surgeries, you can't eat, drink, anything beforehand. So at this point, since I woke up so early, I didn't have a chance to eat or drink anything. I just went straight to the emergency room. So I hadn't had anything since the night before. So at that point, I was still in the clear, but obviously I was hungry, I was thirsty, I wanted something, and I was just like, okay, are we doing this? Are we not? And so they finally told me, it's going to be a while, and I wasn't too thrilled with that, obviously. And so I called around and talked to my mom and a few other people and realized that it was in my best interest to go to another hospital. And so I went home to Greenwood, where I'm from, and went to Self Regional. They were fabulous, and checked in there, and they performed my surgery. I was in the hospital a total of 2 nights, and it wasn't until I got to Self that I realized really the severity of the position that I was in. They told me that I had a chronically infected gallbladder, which is something I didn't know. I just knew I had gallbladder issues. And that it definitely had to come out, and it had to come out quickly. Because what I didn't know is that once your gallbladder is so infected, it can start affecting other organs. So if I didn't get mine out quickly, then it could have started hurting other organs or ruptured, or something could have gone really bad. After I made it to Greenwood, they realized that I was going to be on the surgery schedule for the next day. So they went on and gave me a little cup about this big of water, which to me was amazing because I drink water like a fish. And when I'm saying that, whatever you're thinking, think that times 10. I drink so much water a day. So for me not to have water all day, I was dying. I was literally dying. So I was so happy for that. And then they told me that I could have popsicles. So of course I called room service, and I figured out which popsicle I liked. It was the grape one. I ordered 8 of them. I was like, can you bring them to my room? Thank you. And so of course I'm just having popsicle after popsicle. At this point I'm still on the drugs. I'm doing good. I'm living life. And so I had to wake up the next morning at about 4 a.m. to start surgery prep. My boyfriend Thomas stayed with me overnight in the hospital. That was both our first times ever spending the night in the hospital. So we wake up at 4 a.m. and I had to take a shower with the surgical wash and everything to get ready. So they didn't know exactly what time my surgery would be, but that's really common for surgeries. They just give you like a roundabout time. We knew it would be super early though. So I was ready to go. Let's get her done. And so I had my shower, So I didn't quite think to pack shampoo, conditioner, body wash, or anything. So I asked them if I could have some, if they happened to have any. So, yeah, they brought me an all-in-one. The last time I think I used an all-in-one, I was like 5. So I was like, okay, thank you. That was fun. And then I remember Thomas asking for a bagel, and the nurse, after my question, then his question, just looked at me and said, guys, this isn't the Marriott. But neither one of us had stayed in a hospital before. We had no clue. They were treating us like it was the Marriott. I didn't know. So it was really funny. We were honestly having so much fun to be at a hospital. All the nurses were sweet as they could be. They all helped so much. And finally, when my surgery rolled around, they took me downstairs and I went into surgery. When I woke up, they told me that they had to do an extra incision. So that meant 5 instead of 4, which isn't that bad, but the incisions were about 1 inch each. So there are a lot of incisions on my stomach now. I didn't have that much pain after the surgery. Honestly, I felt pretty good to have just had surgery. Every other surgery that I've had before, let me tell you, anesthesia turns me into a whole different person, as it does most people. And I only know this because I've had surgeries before. I usually wake up the meanest person you've ever met. It lasts probably a good hour after surgery for me normally. I will yell at you about anything, literally anything. But this time I woke up, I was in a good mood. I was so happy. I was just like, hi, thank you for being here. It was crazy. This is new for me. This is the first time this has ever happened. So I remember seeing Thomas, my grandma, everything, and I was so happy. And I called my mom, told her I was okay and that everything went well. They were able to get it out, and I went back to my room and they told me that I had to spend one more night in the hospital just because of the infection and everything. So I spent another night, and then it took until the next day for the doctor to come in and clear me to eat. So at this point I was like 3 days without eating. They approved me to eat, and I was scared to death just because I had never eaten without a gallbladder before, and it kind of assists with digestion and everything. So I ordered like the healthiest thing I could think of, and I tried, and I ate just a little, probably less than a kid's portion, and went home with my grandma. And Thomas stayed in Greenwood with me for the rest of the week, I want to say. He stayed with me at my grandma's, took care of me, made sure everything was okay. I'm so thankful for him and my grandma for taking such great care of me. My other grandma would come by, bring me food, whatever I needed, and I'm just so lucky to have a great support system. On top of everything, 2 other of my family members were in the same hospital at the same time. We were all on different floors, thank goodness, so it wasn't too confusing. But one of my nurses asked my second night there, "Hey, do you know Mr. Gant upstairs?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's my dad." And she just looked so confused, like, what? Like, how did this happen? And so when my dad actually got out of the hospital and came to visit me, he came in my room, and the security people thought he was escaping from upstairs. It was kind of funny, kind of not. Because they were like, sir, what are you doing? Can you step out here, please? And they thought he was trying to leave the hospital, but he wasn't. He was released at that point, so it's okay. But yeah, my dad was in the hospital with atrial fibrillation, which is a heart condition. He was having issues with that, and it was crazy. So my biggest lesson out of this whole story is to listen to your body. If you think something is wrong, and seriously wrong, then it probably is, and you should probably seek medical attention. I'm always very hesitant, but I'm very glad that I went to the emergency room, because otherwise it could have been a lot worse for me. Had I not gone at the time that I did and had the infection gotten worse, it could have affected other organs, it could have ruptured, all kinds of crazy stuff could have happened, and I could have been in the hospital much, much longer than I was. And so I'm very, very thankful for everyone who treated my case with urgency and got me where I needed to be and took great care of me. Thank you so, so much. I feel so much better now. Life without gallbladder has been great. It took a little getting used to, just because I didn't have that extra layer of digestion. Now I'm pretty great. Like, I don't notice a different life at all. I just feel the same as I did before. And I do have scars now. I have 5 scars. The biggest one is at my belly button, and then the rest are spread out over my stomach. I have not been in a bathing suit since the surgery, and that's something that I'm definitely, I wouldn't say not looking forward to, but it's gonna be different. Going through something like that, I'm thankful to be alive. I'm thankful that it wasn't worse. And so I'm not too concerned about my scars, and if anything, I think that just makes my journey more meaningful. And I'm glad and I'm proud of my scars, because it shows what I went through. And I'm the same way about all my scars. I have a lot of scars. I'm a very haphazard person. I do use scar gel, but I'm not too concerned about covering them up, because I feel like that shows what I've been through. And if anything, it's a great talking point. So I hope you guys enjoyed this crazy story that happened this summer, and I'm looking forward to doing more story times with you and telling you about my crazy life. Thank you so much for watching. Also, I'm going to be dropping all my social media down below, so you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I can't wait to see you guys.